Steven, if Hannah doesn't want to go to sleep, just invite her on the show. I want to hear what she has to say. Can we do that instead? I'm sure she'll be fine.
All right, so we usually start with me talking about something, but we're going to talk about Steven right now because he's on daddy duty. Unfortunately, his daughter is not feeling well, and you might be able to hear some crying, and he might have to jettison this podcast, and I will have to take over.
Yeah, I think I am abandoning ship in probably the next 5 minutes. So hi and probably bye very soon. She unfortunately has croup. She came down with that last night and has been coughing and trouble breathing throughout the morning. And I had to stay home because of that. And it's one of the many joys of having children, a toddler getting sick all the time with daycare. And my favorite is always, they just have a cough. They just have a runny nose. It's fine. They're not sick. And then, of course, every single time Hannah comes down with something, whether it's the flu or COVID or today it's croup.
I don't even know what the fuck croup is.
It's just a barking cough. It's like a nasty, nasty cold / cough. I mean, she's been so runny with her nose and drooling that her whole entire shirt was like soaked after a few minutes. But unfortunately, I just put her down thinking I could squeeze in RAWtalk, and she is already up after 15 minutes and kind of freaking out already. So I'm going to have to run in there in a few. Maybe she'll go back down. We'll see.
You know what they did back in the day? I think my neighbor did this to their son. I think they gave him alcohol and then put him to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And that
we don't do that anymore.
That explains why he is slow.
Oh, jeez.
Very slow.
Oh, man.
Anyway, let's get as far as we can, and then when I need to take over, I need to take over. So right off the rip, I was going to talk about that. I believe my eyes changed overnight one night. Like, literally just changed.
Like more blind than you already are?
Different blind.
Oh.
Like, whereas my glasses, where I could use my glasses and see my phone, now everything up close is blurry.
Overnight.
Yeah, it was a short. I mean, I started to notice it, so I don't know if it was exactly overnight, but I started to notice it, and unfortunately, up close now with my glasses is horrible. I have to take my glasses off, kind of to read the screen so that it's not blurry.
Oh, you need like bifocals.
No, I think I need progressives. Well, basically bifocals, but the new style of it. I will tell you, though, the prescription that the eye doctor gave me last time, I just wore those for Photo News Fix that I recorded, and I was like, oh, everything at a distance is clear. This is amazing. The problem with those glasses originally was I couldn't see anything up close.
One of the many things we kind of fight about is your eyesight, because I always think you can see something and you're like, I can't see, I'm blind. And I always forget how truly almost blind you are.
What you see at 40 feet, I see it at like 20 feet or less.
But lately, like you said, it's been even like up close stuff you can barely read.
Well, that's because I have to like take off the glasses.
Yeah.
So I think the answer is I got to get those progressives where I have the nice big prescription for seeing things sharp and gorgeous at a distance, and then I have the ability to read. I might just need computer glasses too. And I also, as a note, do not shoot with glasses. So that doesn't affect my shooting because I don't shoot with glasses.
You just have to crank that viewfinder, the diopter.
I find the right spot in the diopter, and I go with it.
Well, usually when I pick up your camera after you shoot with it, it's really blurry to me.
Yeah, well, people don't understand. They really just don't understand how I see.
Even I still struggle with it. Like I said, like I all the time, I'm like, how do you not see that? It's right there, but you definitely have an eye condition for sure.
In Kenya, we were looking at things, and people were like, don't you see that alligator? And I was like, what alligator? Like, and then we'd be driving and I'd be like, guys, look at that. They're like, oh, that's a rock. I was like, oh. Or, hey, look at that hot girl. Oh, fuck, she's 12. You know, and you're like, damn it.
And it comes down to communication a lot with us. Like, I'll be like, Jared, I texted you that. And you're like, oh, I didn't read it right. Or I read it wrong. Or you sent me something thinking you said something you thought you typed out right. You typed out something completely different and didn't realize it because of your eyes. And there's a lot of miscommunication because of that.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing thing in my whole life.
Yeah.
Seeing things one way or reading something one way, but it actually says something the other because my brain has completed the sentence.
Yeah.
But my eyes have failed me.
Yeah, because your response is typically like, when I'll be like, what are you talking about? You're like, my eyes. Just my eyes. And then I get it. I'm like, oh, okay. You misread it.
So it absolutely sucks.
Yeah. Well, good news. Hannah looks like she's going back down.
Don't say anything. Don't even say
we'll
it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from there into the Swiss binding gate. We'll call it Swiss binding gate. I got so many messages from people, friends. I got a call from a friend, my buddy Bill. I shot his wedding, and he's Bill Rogers.
Oh yeah, I know Bill.
Shot his wedding. William, I call him William. He's cool, and he gets the book. I'm like, hey man, how's it going? I'm like, don't tell me that your book was damaged. He's like, well, when I open the cover, the spine isn't attached. I'm like, that's the fucking book, dude. That's called a Swiss binding. And I've talked about it a billion times. We even talked about it in the Kickstarter campaign itself. I've shown, did we not?
I'm pretty sure the promo video we did not, because you didn't.
I didn't know which one I was doing yet.
Thought you were doing that just yet.
All right, but when the sample books came in, I showed what what Swiss binding could do.
Because if you recall the first promotional video for the Bernie book, we made a big point about not losing the picture in the gutter and having a lay flat book, and it kind of turned out the opposite way. So we kind of stepped back this time for the promo video and didn't make a big point because we were still debating which way to go. And
that was not my fault with the Bernie book. The sample book they sent me laid flat with the regular binding, and then their answer was, "Oh well, the machine makes them very tight, and yours was hand bound." I was like, "Oh, come on, guys!
Like, you probably should have given me a final copy book off of a production run, because what I got was not what you guys showed me." Nope. I mean, the sample book is in that promo video, so you can see what we're talking about, and it literally did lay perfectly flat.
Yep.
And when we got the books, it was quite the opposite.
I was disappointed. Now, with these, I'm not as disappointed. I've seen a few, like, the Swiss binding has been great. There's been some people that have had issues with shipping, and that's generally not a me issue. That's a UPS issue. Or technically, I could have put a box inside of a box and done more, but I did this with the Bernie book, even though this book is a little heavier. I would say the majority of them, knock on wood, get there the way they need to. And then one had like a hole punched in the back of the freaking package, which went through the spine, which went through the cover, the back cover, which went halfway through the book. It's like, well, what'd you do?
That happen?
Would you try to fuck the book?
It's like they shot it with a bullet or something.
Yeah, well, it would stop a bullet because there's so many pages.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to go through that thickness of a book, like, that takes some serious force.
I will say there is a shit ton. This is a massive book.
It is.
I have dysmorphia I have book dysmorphia. And then when I pick up someone else's book, I'm like, what is this garbage that's 12 pages long with super thin paper printed in China?
It only weighs 1 pound.
Right. Like a 1 pound book that's a tiny, like, that's not a photo book. That's just a waste of space.
I will say, reading a lot of the text coming in, it looks like a lot of people are very impressed, especially with the Swiss binding. And me too. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did. I think you definitely made the right choice on that. And I know you went back and forth in your head many times to make that final decision.
I couldn't justify a gutter. A gutter. And when they told me that there was like maybe 10 to 12 or 15% chance that pages might not line up perfectly, or there might be a white line, or there might be a photo on the slight edge of a frame, in the center. I'm like, well, that's better than losing something in the gutter. And then when I did the math myself, I counted how many 2-page spreads actually went across the gutter. And then I was like, wait a second, there's only 67 pages out of 100 and, out of whatever, 200, however many pages. I'm like, so the percentages now go down. So there's less chance of that misalignment. I saw one the other day in one book, but it was like a millimeter of another photo. I'm like, I would have lost 10 times that in a gutter.
Oh, so yeah. You also designed this book differently, knowing that there might be a chance of losing some of it in the gutter. So a lot of the pictures weren't perfectly symmetrical. They were a little off, or you tried to accommodate for that possible gutter if you went with the normal binding.
Yeah. I haven't put them up for sale yet. For regular people, I'm getting close to going to do that. I'll probably just ship it in the United States, because overseas shipping, it's super expensive. It could be anywhere from $28 in the UK to somewhere in middle Australia, like $118. And then Poland was like $80, and Italy is $70. So there's certain ones that are expensive, and I win some on shipping and I lose some on shipping, and it hopefully all evens out at the end of the day. But it's a process, man. It is absolutely a process. So bear with me if you haven't received it. The internationals, I shipped over 100 internationals yesterday via FedEx. Those started to move. and hopefully there's no damage. Or hopefully like any damage is just like a bent corner that doesn't affect anything. There's only so much I could do with keeping the prices. I don't want to say keeping the prices down. You want to protect the fucking book, but you know, the way that I use the book mailers is that they folds over on the edges and protects it, and it doesn't really move around, but it can't protect it if someone drops it 5 feet.
Exactly. There's only so much you can do.
And what's crazy is I've had books shipped by Amazon literally in Tyvek envelopes, those plastic ones and with zero protection, and they come in perfect. And then you get some in the most protected box ever, and it's dented through and through. You're like, what the fuck did you do to this?
I think almost every single time I order a vinyl record and it comes in the special media mail or whatever it is box, it every single time is dented in the corners without a doubt. Like I can just expect it to be nearly destroyed by the time I get it. I think I'm like 4 records in where every single one has been dented to some extent. It's almost impossible to get a perfectly flat 12 by 12 square vinyl every single time. Anyway,
the books are going. There's still a lot of people that haven't put in their addresses. If you're someone who hasn't gotten a shipping notification and you never sent the address via Kickstarter in the Kickstarter survey, your book's not coming until I get your address. So just remember that. But big thank you to everybody who did do all that so I could get your books out. Now,
and Book Talk will be done soon, so bear with us.
Yeah. Until the next one that I don't plan on doing anytime soon. So moving on, I've been playing with the GFX 100 RF that I borrowed from Brandon at Allen's Camera. He took a new unit that came in, one of the very few that Fuji has actually shipped, and let me borrow it. And then we'll sell it to someone knowing that I used it. And they will know that because there is someone already who wants to buy the one that I used. So just keep that in mind that is what happens. But it's an interesting, quirky camera that I've taken into the real world. I shot a Phillies game and not really much of the action, but more so the stuff that goes around the stadium, the track and field event, Independence Hall, where the Liberty Bell is. I went to New York City. And it's an interesting camera because I think that it's positioned in a world where they want to go after Leica shooters who want the Leica Q3 43, which is a 43 millimeter lens. I believe it's an f2, which I've never used, but it's a full frame body. And with this GFX, it's a medium format sensor, not true medium format, but larger than full frame. That's 102 megapixels, like you said. And it has a 28 millimeter f4, which is what people complained about. And then I realized that is a 35 millimeter equivalent. And I love 35 millimeters. But I will say, I wish that they put a more substantial lens on the front. And I don't mean substantial in length. I just mean substantial in terms of speed. Just something with more pizzazz to take advantage of the 16-bit RAW files and the quality that you pull off of that sensor. I just want a lens that pulls the zhush out of it, you know? Just something like a 28 to 70 f2 that pops. And I'm not talking about a zoom. I'm just trying to equate it to like the Nikon 35-1.2 and how that looks.
Yeah, the question is, do you want to put a giant lens on something like this?
Doesn't need to be too giant, but just something bigger. It's already a big camera. Why does it matter? Like, it's not fitting in my pocket anyway. Why don't you put a nice lens on it? Like what Sony did with their, whatever that one with the full frame sensor was back in the day that they haven't remade yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a lot of people rocking something like this around their neck. You know, you don't really want a giant, heavy lens body, whatever it may be, around
Steven,
your neck.
I already rock something big and heavy between my legs, so what's another thing around my neck?
But and it comes down to, like we've said, the aesthetic. They're trying to make it look sexy and cool, and they did a good job with that. But unfortunately, they gave it kind of a rinky-dinky lens. I think you even said it seems like it's like a plastic lens.
I say it feels more like what a pancake lens would look like with a super small amount of optics. So it's not like the most amount of optics. And you look at a Sony 35-1.2 or the Sony 50-1.2, and you're like, oh, that's a substantial lens. I get that there's a trade-off, but it's a $5,000 camera, right? Like, I'd rather have a better lens on it for $5,000, or you charge $6,000, screw it, and it's a little larger, fine, so be it, but it's not fitting in your pocket anyway. Just make some stupid fold-over case that people carry around to think you're cool.
It still has a leaf shutter, right?
Yeah, it has the leaf shutter. The funny thing is, Steven, I just shot it on single shot the whole time.
Oh, speaking of your eyes, we had this conversation. Go into it.
One, my whole idea was I'm going to shoot with intent, and I don't want a motor drive. So that's why. And I had it set to mechanical shutter only, and it only took one picture. And then I'm like, I don't even know how to change the drive mode.
You were texting me like, I'm just in single shot. And you're all like kind of annoyed. I don't know how to friggin' change the drive mode, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, you mean the big button that says drive in the bottom right? Did you try that?
Well, it was all blurry, so I couldn't read what it said.
And I think you responded with my eyes. And I'm like, okay,
it was just blurry.
I get it.
But then I'd never even tried to do 6 frames a second because I don't care. It's not about that for me with this camera.
Yeah, I have my Fuji set at the low continuous frame rate. It's like, I don't know, 3-4 frames a second. I forget what it's set to exactly.
I enjoy shooting. I mean, I like the larger sensor. For example, when I photographed this guy, Greg Frenese, he's one of the camera guys in the outfield at Philly. He's under an overhang, but it's an afternoon game, so it's sunny and bright in the background, and you look at this raw file without any edits, and you're like, God, this is flat and terrible. And then I tweak it, and then I take the background and bring the background back up to balance it, and I'm like, oh, that looks good. And that's the point of, a larger sensor, more data, which leads me to the whole, they sell this camera for people that are like, I want picture styles and I want film emulators and simulators because that's what I want to do. But you're basically spending all this money to dumb down your camera to take a shitty JPEG with filters added to it that you could literally shoot raw and then go through and select the filter that you want and export it, which is, to me, easier because you're not worried about it while you're shooting.
Yeah, I had this conversation with you, I think yesterday, where you were talking about like, I wish this $5,000 camera had more. And I was saying what I like about my Fuji is it's a lot more inexpensive than this camera. It's $1,600 versus $5,000. So it's nice to have kind of a play around camera that I can just spit out JPEGs and post them and not worry about editing and all that kind of stuff. And, it's APS-C sensor, so it's not a giant 102 megapixel medium format sensor and you're getting all this crazy quality. It's good enough. What I still have, though, is that main camera that I would use for like a professional photo shoot where I would bust out a real lens, shoot in RAW, edit in RAW, all of that. I don't know if I could justify having 2 main expensive cameras like that interchangeable lens camera versus, this camera as well. That's kind of a tough ask for me, at least. And I think it's a tough ask for most people, spending $5,000 on something like this than buying an A7 CR and putting like a 35-1.4 on it.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing the review of this shortly, but that is the thing. It's like, this isn't a camera that someone buys just because they want their first camera or they want to take pictures and they want good results and whatever.
This is a second camera for sure.
Yeah, this is someone who has the money that just wants to be like, I want something that's quality to take with me. So shooting with it, I was cool with it. I mean, there's quirky. It doesn't feel good in the hands at all. A typical just doesn't feel good. I kept accidentally hitting this dial in the front. Well, actually, to take a step back, I had to watch a video on YouTube of a kid setting up the GFX 100 RF, right? Had a user guide video, which was very helpful.
You actually did the same exact thing for the X100 6 as well.
Well, it's good. It's like what we do. We make a video and it helps people set it up. So I knew most of the stuff. I just didn't know where the stuff was. And so got a basic understanding of how this kid set it up and kept saying ISO, and I wanted to punch him in the fucking face.
Was it Tony Northrup?
No, it wasn't Tony Northrup.
Who's now your best friend.
Though I have a portrait of Tony Northrup with this camera in New York City because I ran into him up there, so that's going to be in the review. But no, I wanted to punch this kid in the face. He kept saying ISO. I keep my ISO at this, my ISO at that. Fuck you and your auto ISO. I actually shot it in...
But Jared, it's not an acronym.
International Standardization Organization, okay? ISO. Suck my balls.
I just bring it up because I know it will trigger.
The way that I shot it, one, I couldn't figure out how to set it to manual. So that was a thing for a minute.
I think you just have to actually set the settings to manual to put it in manual mode, right?
There's nothing that says manual.
That's what
you
I'm
have
saying.
to go to the top dial.
Yeah.
And then the top dial, you turn to C. You turn to C.
And then T.
C for ISO and T
for shutter.
And so I changed my I left my aperture locked to F4 because you can control that with a ring. That's easy. That's on the lens. That's easy to do. Then I have the ISO was on the front finger and the shutter speed was on the back. And that was great.
I switched mine, but yeah, generally the same setup.
I kept hitting this stupid lever that's under that dial, and that lever allows you to digitally zoom or change your focal length, which just literally crops the sensor 3 times. And I kept accidentally doing that. Now, that doesn't affect the RAW file because with the RAW file, you get everything. But if you were in JPEG and you did that, then you would lose all of the data outside of there.
It's the one thing I hate with my Fuji is that front dial is so small on the X100 grip, especially because I added a wooden grip on top of that to make it feel good in the hands. And it's so impossible to like adjust the shutter half the time. I almost have to like look from the top of the camera down to make sure I'm hitting the shutter button the right way. I'm sorry, the shutter speed dial.
Well, the other thing is I was looking in the custom control menu for how to change, associate something with the dial. So you go into the menu and you go to custom settings and you get to that dial, and then you have a list of like 4 functions, 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are all showing the same dial.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're showing the same dial, so how do I get to this function?
I set mine up too, where I press in that front dial. I can then switch to aperture.
The front dial doesn't press on this.
Oh, really?
Only the back dial presses.
Oh, no, maybe it is the back dial.
No, yours is the front dial.
It is the front, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes, but the back they don't do that on this one.
Oh, that's a shame because that's such a great feature. I'm always hitting that to just quickly basically use that front dial for every setting.
Yeah.
I just boom aperture, boom shutter speed, boom ISO. I can just constantly toggle between the 3.
Yeah, so me shooting it around the city is perfectly fine, or shooting the Phillies and the quality, you have 102 megapixels to work with. I don't buy into this bullshit that it gives you 3 focal lengths beyond the original and that it's just like having that other camera, because it's not. It's literally just cropping your 102 megapixels into another frame, which might be the equivalent of a 60 millimeter or 65 millimeter lens or whatever millimeters they associate that with. But I just think that's absolutely stupid.
Well, it's giving you the same focal range, focal length,
right? But not the same,
but not the
feel
depth
and look.
And yeah,
exactly. So that shit's stupid. I think you spend $5,000 on a camera that's a point and shoot. You might as well just have bought the one that you have. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that it has that option though, at least built in if you really need it in a pinch.
Stupid. In a pinch, you just crop later. What do you mean in a pinch? You can do it all later.
If you're shooting the film simulations JPEG and you want to spit them out right then and there in a pinch.
No, in a pinch. What do you mean in a pinch? You're not in a pinch.
I just said what I mean.
I don't agree.
I'm not saying I do it. I'm just saying I understand why it's put in there. Of course. You got to think of other people, dude. Not everyone shoots like you.
I know. I am thinking of other people. No, you are morons, other people. If you decide to buy this camera and dumb it down to JPEG and then do stupid crop mode because you're like, oh, you're so cool. Look at me going in crop mode. I spent all this money. I'm so cool. Look at me. And then you complain about quality. I actually think that the simulators are stupid. I hate the simulators. But again, with the RAW file in camera, I can just go through and be like, oh, I like that simulator. That looks cool.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the film simulation modes. I know some people swear by them, but I've only found like 1 or maybe 2 that are decent.
I just love how they get locked into a box, literally. If you're shooting JPEG, you're locked in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in a box. Look at me. I'm in a box, everybody. So anyway, we'll be filming that review shortly, the full review.
We were supposed to film it today, actually, but somebody had to get sick. Thanks, Hannah.
With doggy cough. Rough.
She's still down, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, so anyway, you got a quick sneak peek of that, but you'll obviously get to see the images that I captured that I'm happy with, and I like being locked in a box sometimes just to have the restraints of the challenge.
Yeah, we talked about this before you shot.
Oh.
The challenge. Basically, everything we just said, we already talked about.
I don't listen to the podcast back, Steven, so I forget
you just
week to week.
Completely forget what we talked about, and there's week after week, we tend to repeat ourselves a lot because of that.
Well,
I try to nip it in the bud and quickly be like, hold on. Let's not talk about that. We already did.
Well, now this is me using it. So anyway, moving on.
A little different.
Right before we get to the news, I do have some other news about boot camps. Last year we did 3 boot camps. This year I'm starting the process of releasing the boot camps, and I released the first boot camp, which is July 13th. It's a Sunday this time, something a little different, all day in Philly. And if you'd like to attend the boot camp, there's only 18 spots available for this one, actually 17 now. But you got bit.ly/July13Fro, July, the number 13, lowercase FRO. That is how you can go sign up to lock in your space for a boot camp, whether you're a beginner, an advanced amateur, or someone who just wants some tips, gets here in person and gets access to me and Greg, who will be here, this Greg Carocchio.
Oh, that's great. That he's joining again.
Incredible with he's just really good teacher as well. So there's a lot of feedback and help that you can get in person, and people loved it last year and they loved it in the past when I did it. And so I don't expect it to be different this year with people enjoying it. So if you want to sign up, I've rolled it out for that day, July 13th, Sunday, here in Philly, 8 a.m. till like 5:30. It sometimes goes into overtime. But yeah, like I said, doesn't matter if you're an amateur, doesn't matter if you're a beginner. We get all different walks of life and spectrum people, you know, all. No, Steven, not spectrum people like autistic people. I'm just saying. Well, I wasn't talking about rainbows either. Whatever. Anyway, it's a great day of learning, whether you're a beginner, whether you're advanced amateur, whether you're beyond that. There is a lot of learning that does come out of it because it's hands-on. Let's go shoot. Let's go learn. So that boot camp is available as we speak right meow. Now it's time to move on to the news segment, trying something different here, where I'm going to do like a highlight thing just so that you guys know what's coming up, and then we talk about it instead of being all over the place, trying to add some uniformity here like Steven likes to have.
Well,
you know,
we always intend to have a uniform, show, some structure, but it usually goes off the rails and completely sideways half the time.
We're on the rails, Steven. We're on the rails today. News highlights. AI brings Bible characters to life as influencers. Sony and NHL team up to bring Sony cameras and the tech to the NHL. Sigma raises prices 10% in the U.S. Sigma drops an entire line of Cinema Prime T1.3 lenses, where the entire kit sets you back $100,000. We're going to talk about that, as well as Canon rumors questioning if the R6 Mark III will get a sensor higher than 24 megapixels. Did you watch the Bible stuff, Steven?
I watched absolutely nothing. You sent me these notes 1 minute before we went live.
I didn't know we were doing it today until later, so I had to put it together.
I am extremely ill-prepared today because my child was very sick all morning, and I just put her down right before we started. So bear with me because I don't know anything. I don't know what we're talking about, and half the news stories dropped today.
We're going to take a second and let Steven watch this Bible influencer video. So we'll put a link to this post on X, Twitter, so you can watch the 1:04 trailer, which is insane. What did you think about Bible characters being modern day influencers with iPhones, which was the idea that the guy did when putting together, let's see, it says Bible influencers video went crazy viral this weekend and pulled in millions of views. So the guy used Chat GPT, he wrote some scripts, and he used VO3 with prompts from Google to make it into what he made it into.
I mean, it's pretty spot on how I would think people from back then would be vlogging and being an influencer and all of that kind of stuff. I don't have much to say, to be honest.
I will tell you that it is probably sacrilege. Most people watching would be like, Mary just said basically that she was raped in there. She was like, what am I going to tell my parents about being pregnant?
Yeah.
And I didn't know who some of the characters were. I watched some of the other videos and I'm like, who's this Daniel guy?
Yeah, I only knew, obviously, the big boys, Jesus and Mary and
Joseph?
Joseph and yeah, Moses.
I don't think the Moses one is insane.
Yeah.
Jesus on the cross. Well, who's holding the camera while he's doing it, and his arms are tied to the cross. David and Goliath. I mean, it was really impressive for what was put together. I mean, it shows you the power of what AI is capable of doing right now, especially it's going to disrupt video tremendously when you can make advertisements for yourself.
It is quite scary how realistic it is. I mean, it's at the point where you can't tell what's real and what's not. It's
Noah's Ark.
Scary good.
Well, so did you see the one floating around with the kangaroo, the support kangaroo trying to get on the airplane with a plane ticket?
I don't think I did, no.
That was big a few weeks ago, and people thought it was real. They thought this woman had an emotional support kangaroo, and the kangaroo's just standing there calmly.
I think about like the next election. I think about politics, all of that kind of stuff. Like it's getting scary, man. Just how fast it's accelerated in the past, even since VO3 has come out. That's the one that really perfected it.
But have you even seen, thought about like if I plugged in my mom's videos into fucking thing and you bring her to life?
Of course, there's a lot of positive things that come out of it, for sure. But what scares me about is the negative.
Of course. But seeing what it was able to do with Bible stuff, and like I said, I didn't know who Daniel was, and Daniel in a pit of lions, I don't know who that is.
Even like the camera movements, like the one, the clip of Jesus on the cross, it's like a wide angle fisheye and you can see the movement kind of going in and out and like clearly someone just kind of holding a wide angle lens in front of them shooting him.
It's out, the cat's out of the bag. It's not going back in the bag now.
Oh, I know.
And I do think we will be using this stuff for like, it's like, imagine you didn't get a specific shot, not photo wise. You're not replacing still photography still, but you want to make a scene in a in something that you didn't get to do, and you put in me as a character into the damn AI, and you're like, we need Jared to do this and this and this, and it's like, boom, it spits out something good enough.
Why do you say it's not replacing still photography anytime soon?
Because you're not going to replace live action capturing the moment images.
You're talking about people.
Well, I'm talking about, photojournalism.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are in trouble with this.
Yeah, of course. My brain goes to live action stuff.
Well, what you shoot.
Sports, photojournalism,
of course,
concerts.
Photojournalism and event photography is still always going to be
reality.
A thing. Yeah.
You know,
same with documentary work. Documentary work is always going to be a thing.
Unless it's an AI documentary about someone who is long gone and they don't have footage from that era, right? Pre-1860s.
Sure, but that's
70s.
The same as someone doing a dramatization or reenacting a scene in a documentary.
Well, that's the thing. They might do away with those actors. They may not need to do it because you're able to prompt the AI to give you this reenactment for far less than it would have been to have someone animate it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could see it totally being used in documentaries to do reenactments instead of filming them or having cartoons, an artist draw it. And yeah, that is going to take away jobs from other people, but it's also going to make it easier for more people it's going to democratize it. On the flip side, it starts to get repetitive and old real fast if everybody has the same stuff. And so it's about growth there. We'll see what happens. Oh, do you know what the next big the Adam and Eve thing? I thought Eve was going to have an OnlyFans. I thought she was about to be like, hey guys, link in bio to my OF.
Oh, that's funny.
See what's underneath so I listened to Scott Galloway and he thinks porn is rife for the AI world. He thinks that it's the next thing where he's like a porn star, an OnlyFans girl, woman, man, whatever, whoever could basically put their likeness into the system and they can have two tiers. One tier is where they are real and people request videos from them and they pay money. And then the other is where you pay a subscription and you program the AI to do whatever you want and it spits out the video for someone to watch or photos. Like that's coming.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That is kind of a perfect application for it. It's scary.
I mean, yeah, because then it's even taking people more out of reality and it's more into the fantasy world. Now, hopefully it stays with the above board legal shit, but there's people already going to jail for trying to make the illegal shit.
Like I said, there's going to be a lot of negative things that come out of this. I think more negative than positive stuff.
I don't think more negative,
I do.
Personally.
I do.
I think there's a lot of positive implications as well.
Video AI is what I'm talking about.
You're talking about video. Yeah.
Not so much like ChatGPT or something like that. I think it's more video AI and how they're going to use it.
Yeah. So if you want to sign up for Eve's OnlyFans, it's onlyfans.com/Eve without Adam. But there is another one with Adam. If you want to watch both Adam and Eve together, you can do it. Moving on, we've got Sony and the NHL team up where they're going to implement their camera systems around for broadcast. And I checked with Bruce Bennett on his thoughts because Bruce shoots Canon and is the head NHL photographer for Getty Images, and none of this affects them. Right? It's not being like you have to use Sony cameras when you're taking stills or shooting video. It's that the broadcast technologies are going to be switching over to using Sony's technology to help give more analytics and to use different graphics and to, I don't know if they can use it for goals and offsides. They'll use it for net cams, but they signed a deal with Sony, which is like Sony has the NFL and NHL.
I was just going to say, it seems just like their NFL partnership where they're using Hawkeye and all of that technology for replays and tracking the puck or tracking the football.
It says the NHL and Sony will collaborate to enhance the NHL experience for fans, coaches, officials, players, and broadcasters. On the broadcast side, the NHL will leverage Sony's Beyond Sports production, which includes NHL animated data. Ooh, they could probably use AI for that. Visualizations, and Sony's Hawkeye measuring and tracking tech. Ooh, I need to borrow that Hawkeye to measure my dick.
3 inches.
What? 3.2. Wait. 3.1. Wait.
2.7.
Wait, who brought this carrot? This is cheating. This is not a real deal.
Too small to measure. Too small to measure.
Hey, Steven, someone's going to type that into fucking VO3, and now we're going to have animated that sequence right there. Jared measuring his Dioc with Sony Hawkeye and then saying too small to measure.
Definitely not the Hebrew hammer.
Definitely not the Hebrew. Anyway, Sony's Hawkeye measuring and tracking tech. Sony says this will bring NHL fans closer to the game than ever before. Closer to the game is literally being in the game. That's like saying you'll be closer to the porn star than ever before. VR porn.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. Not that I've had experience.
VR porn goes way back in the day. Way back in the day. I got an email. Somehow I was on this porn
Somehow
press.
you were on that list.
I know exactly how I got on the porn press list. It was probably when we went to the AVN Awards. My email ended up on a porn press list. But it was this one site. They're like, we have VR porn. And it's for people that had the Sony goggles at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is stupid. So I just sent it to someone else who we knew who had the Sony goggles to try.
Oh, what'd they think?
I don't remember ever asking for their feedback or their thoughts on it after the fact because I didn't care. So we'll see if Sony continues to push their technology to other sports and how the trickle-down effect if it even affects any of the photographers, which I don't think it's going to affect any of the photographers. So next up, we have Sigma raises prices by 10% on products made in Japan that are coming to the United States. That's because a blanket 10% tariff was added to everything because of Trump's tariffs. And so they have officially raised those prices. So something like a $300 to $600 is now $600 more. So instead of $6,000, you're spending $6,600, which means you're spending a lot more money when it comes to tax as well, because tax is taken off the top. It's not taken off of what, so basically you're paying tax multiple times. The tariff, and then you're paying a higher tax because the price was higher at the register.
So you're probably looking at a good, $100 to $150 for most of their products, which range anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500, right? For a lot of their lenses in the US. That's a pretty decent extra chunk of change.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Now they did mention that if things do change, they will work quickly to to change them. But just think about it. As a company, the importers have to pay the 10% fee tariff on top. And then if they take it, they said if they get rid of it, they might do a rebate. So then they'd get rebated the extra money, the people that purchase it. But the problem is no one knows what to do. And that's because it's the flip-flopping, the the tariff's here today, one day, it's gone the next day, it's higher the next day after that, and no one knows what to do. And so you're in a bind. If you need to buy something, do you wait because the tariffs might be gone tomorrow? But if you do wait, the tariffs get tripled the next day and now prices are going up again. It's like a really shitty time to be a business and a consumer because you don't know what to do. I'm sure Canon, Nikon, Sony are all looking at the same thing for raising things made in Japan as well.
I didn't realize these are already in effect. I just checked B&H, and the BF is now $2,200. Wow.
Yeah, they just went into effect.
That was quick.
Recently.
I thought they just announced it and haven't actually put it into effect just yet. But 24-70 is now $1,300.
What I find to be weird is, are these cameras already in the States, right? Are they cameras that had the tariff already or didn't? Because you should be charging the regular price and say that after this, maybe this is the after this date, everything coming in off the boats or anything coming in for sale is going to have an added tariff. We just don't know. But you can expect to pay more for everything that you need to get. And if it changes, then, then they'll lower the price. We'll see what happens. I don't hold out that most companies are going to ever lower the prices again on anything. Because once it's up, and then they just end up pocketing the rest as profit.
Yep. Which
is bullshit too.
We saw it with COVID. Yeah. Everything went up and never came back down.
I actually saw that lumber prices and plywood prices came down, which was interesting. They dropped like 3 times because I was looking at getting work done. So I knew that the prices were exorbitant, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing this while they're exorbitant.
Even just something like my shed in like 2021, I believe I looked it up. It was going for double the price that I bought it for just the year prior. It was insane.
Should have sold it.
My shed is quite full, so I definitely need that.
Yeah, you have a full shed, Steven.
It's a big boy shed, a she shed.
How big is that shed?
12 by 20.
Holy shit! You can put a bowling alley in there.
It's a nice size for sure. I've got all my lawnmower stuff. So
did you put a fan in there too to like suck out the heat?
No, I've got no power. Unfortunately, it's all the way in the back corner of my lot. So I would have had to trench a pretty serious line to get power there, or put some kind of solar panel. That might be a job one day.
Solar panel.
Yeah, I might try and do that. Put an inverter in there.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Next news story, and by news story, I mean news story. It was a slow news week, but Sigma released 12 cinema lenses, 12 of $3,800 each. They are
$8,300 each. There's your eyes.
Yeah. No, I don't even have it in my notes, Steven. I dyslexicked the numbers in my brain. Yep. I know it's 8,300, but said 3,800 for some odd reason. Yeah, my brain went backwards on that. So that is, I probably am dyslexic. I was never, one teacher in my senior year thought I was dyslexic.
I 100% think you are. It's your eyes that do it though. Yeah.
Things are reversed. Mm-hmm. So anyway, these lenses are $8,300. They're cinema lenses. They are designed from the ground up. They are all T1.3. Can't mess that up. T1.3, and they're for the PL mount as well as the E mount, I believe.
Yes.
And so they are lenses that we'll never use.
They're professional manual focus cinema lenses for full frame sensors. So yeah, it's stuff that if you're making a full on movie, independent film, short film, legit stuff, you're using something like this. This is not probably for 99.9% of our audience. You're probably sticking to the standard hybrid type of lens, or Sigma lens, or a regular Sigma lens, I should say.
Well, these are interesting because obviously you need focus pullers, and they have people that are working apertures and people that are working focus, and I can't see, so I'll never be a focus puller. That's never going to work. But it's interesting to see them come out with 12 lenses in one fell swoop. They're obviously going all in on this. And pricing wise, it's really not that bad, and they're $8,300 each, not $8,300 for 12. It's $8,300. It's $100,000 for all 12, like I mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're going after the big boys, like the Cook lenses that are $35,000 each for a single lens. I think if you get their set of, 8 lenses or something like that, it's like $300,000.
And
it's
no
something
one's gonna
insane.
Know, Steven.
And it's a 1.4. It's a T1.4 as well. So they kind of got they're like, you know what? We're going to make it a 1.3.
But no one knows. No one's going to know whether it was shot with a Cook or a fucking Coke can.
What I find interesting is that even some of their longer focal lengths, like the 125 mil or the 75 mil or the 128 mil, they're also T1.3. I mean, talk about a giant lens.
Yeah, it's pretty unique, but I don't have a lot of input or experience using these types of lenses because I just honestly don't think they're necessary for the most part. But they did announce 2 other Cine style lenses for the E-mount and the L-mount alliance that were autofocus and zooming. Now, those weren't coming until the spring of 2026, and there was no pricing on those, but they're going to have a 28 to 105, and they're going to have a 28 to 45 millimeter, which is a T2. The first lens is a T3 f-stop.
I prefer T2. Best sequel ever.
Yeah, T2 was pretty good.
I assume their 28 to 105 T3 is probably based off their like 28 to 105 Sigma lens that they have for mirrorless cameras.
That's what they said.
Oh, did they say that? Okay.
Well, yeah, you can assume that it's probably from that. It's taken it from the art line, and then they just put it into this lens mount, which is bigger and has all the focus pulling capabilities. And right, they're just trying to do zoom cines that are focused, that have autofocus, which is a new thing for a lot of the cinema world. But when you're a one-man band, you need that.
How much do these lenses come in for?
We don't know that. They haven't said.
Okay.
That will be TBD'd later. But right now, they're just slated for spring of 2026.
So the Sigma 28 to 105 2.8 mirrorless lens is $1,650 right now. And I think that's with that 10% slapped on. So I would assume the cinema version is at least double that.
Could be. Or it could be at least maybe $3,400.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't know what they're going to come up with for that. So the last story that we have here this week, the Canon rumors once again is talking about an R6 Mark III. This time they're saying that they're hearing that it might not be 24 megapixels, maybe, which was the same sensor as the R3, but it might be an all new sensor that may be 30 or 32 megapixels with a new EVF and then that flip out screen that might finally do what I want it to do. But what do you think? Can you see it being a 30 megapixel to 32 megapixel camera? That doesn't really fit in the lineup right now. Not fit in the lineup. It doesn't match what they've done in the past.
It doesn't. I've always thought that 30, 33 megapixel range is like a nice sweet spot for stills photography. I know the A7 IV did that. It was 33 megapixels, 7K oversampling. Wasn't the EOS R 30-ish megapixels? It was that 5D4 sensor?
That took the 5D Mark IV sensor, so they have done that, but they went away and went 24 megapixels for a while.
I think they said that it was still going to be a very fast stacked sensor at 30, 33 megapixels.
Between the R1 and the R5 Mark II, which puts it right on the R3.
That's an incredibly fast sensor. I think it's great.
They're all over the place. Canon Alpha rumors is all over the place with these rumors lately.
I still think, knowing Canon, they're going to probably just take that R3 sensor and trickle it down to the R6 Mark II. It's old now at this point. It's leftover sensor that's still great and current, and it's good enough for a $2,500 or now they're, I think, saying it's going to be like a $3,000 body, right? More expensive.
That's what they're thinking, but keep it in that. If they can keep it in that $2,600, $2,700 range. I mean, could you imagine an R3 style camera for super cheap?
Initially, we thought the R6 Mark II was going to be that because they were saying it was going to have a full stacked 24 megapixel sensor. We just assumed it was going to be the R3. Obviously, that didn't happen. It was a brand new 24 megapixel sensor, but not a fully stacked. Or are they going to go the route of Panasonic and Nikon and go a partially stacked 30-ish megapixel sensor? I don't mind that either.
Didn't really think about the partially stacked, because if you go full stack, it's like,
a lot more expensive.
I don't know what you would be pilfering, because the only other camera would pilfer is the R1, but people that are spending $2,800 are not spending $6,000 plus for an R1 and getting the speed and the quality and all the stuff that comes with it.
My thing is, I think they would really screw over people that bought that R1 because it's less megapixels. Yeah, it's a faster sensor, fully stacked, but is it that much faster? Imagine this being a 33 megapixel full stacked camera.
Yeah,
That's
build
kind of what
quality.
they wanted in the R1 was a higher megapixel, fully stacked, fast shooting professional camera, and the R6 Mark III gets it.
Or this could all just be fluff and they just come out with a 24 megapixel R3 sensor that's been tweaked and updated with autofocus tech from the latest thing. And you're basically getting a baby R3 in a smaller body.
Yeah. And all they have to beat out is the Z6 Mark III right now, which is that faster 24 megapixel partially stacked sensor.
Yep. I don't know that we're going to get that much news coming up. I mean, I know that there's some rumors of Sigma lenses getting announced, some cropped sensor lenses coming. That's what's on the rumor sites. But I think we're in a holding period, even though build is coming up in June 17th and 18th. That's happening soon, which I'll be there on the 17th and the 18th.
Me too.
Speaking at 5 p.m. on the 18th, closing out the expo. You know, it would really help if I wrote my presentation.
You haven't done anything, huh?
I've been making notes on different places and I have ideas. I think I know how I want to start it, but it's how do I get to the ending? I mean, honestly, I only need to do like 40 minutes because I want to do at least 20 minutes of Q&A. I feel that at a live event, it's more fun to do Q&A.
You just got to hope people ask questions.
They do. No, they always do. People always have questions or I yell at them. I mean, that's really how it works.
I will force you to ask questions.
Ask the damn question. Wrong question. Bad question. Shut up. Sit down.
Hi, do you say ISO or ISO?
Fuck you. Next question.
Hi, is it okay to shoot JPEG?
Fuck you. Sit down. Next question.
Are you ever going to shave your head?
Fuck you. Shut up, asshole. Sit down, baldy.
Why are your muscles so small?
Fuck you, bitch. Hey, why are you saying that, little girl?
Why is your shirt so tight?
Why is your face so small?
Good one.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I have my niece and nephew up there and my dad and my brother and sister-in-law may come up, I have to get them spots to sit and then I have to curse and then apologize right after cursing.
Oh, do you not curse in front of them?
Oh, I curse in front of them.
I was
They're
gonna
kids.
say, I feel like knowing your family, I could see a lot of cursing going on around them.
Like we were at the Memorial Day thing and the one is putting his fingers into the bowl to get watermelon next to the spoon that you're supposed to use with the watermelon spoon.
He's a kid.
And I'm like, will you use a fucking spoon? He's like, what do you do? He's 10. He's 10. He can handle it. I'm like, what are you doing? How many times do you have to tell you, use a fucking spoon?
Yeah. 10's pretty young still.
No. They hear curses.
You're gonna learn today. I try my best not to around Hannah, but I've definitely slipped many times.
Fuck. Dad, fuck.
Well, we have a friend that's their toddler that's barely 2 is throwing around F-bombs like crazy. It's like, geez, how does she know all this? She's so young. It's like, it's because we curse nonstop in the house.
Yeah, sponges.
Yeah, they really are.
Sponges.
They really are.
Cursing.
Hannah is a total parrot.
Parrot?
Speaking of Hannah, I am absolutely shocked that she did not wake up during this podcast. Because going into it, I was telling you, I'm like, I don't think we can do this, man. She's freaking out right now. She's crying. She's screaming.
She was screaming.
Thankfully, after a few minutes, she went down.
I could hear it. That's why.
Well, the whole time, the whole podcast, I'm looking over. I have the monitor right next to me, and I'm just like so distracted. So I was a little off today, but hopefully back to normal next week.
Well, that's why it's good that you didn't run in there right away and screw yourself. You gave her a chance.
I typically let them cry it out, and usually she's down after a few minutes. So
bad parenting.
No, I mean, I'm not going to let her cry it out for an hour.
No. But I remember my parents talking about that when it's hearing people that when we were growing up, that would happen. They would just let you'd have to figure it out and then go to sleep.
I just yell on the other, figure it out, Hannah. Figure it the out.
Yeah.
But Dad, shut up.
One job. That's all I got, Steven. I'm going to go work on more stuff now.
I'm going to go take care of my child in the next few minutes when she wakes up.
All right, guys. That's going to be the end of episode 154. Sign up for those boot camps if you've been wanting to come here in person and meet us. Me, not Steven.
I will not be there.
Yeah. And July 13th, go to bit.ly/July13fro. That's lowercase JULY number 13. Lowercase FRO all together, get you over there to lock up a spot because there's only a limited amount to 18 this time. Okay, so that's it, Steven. You have a good one. All right, guys. JaredPolinFrontosPhoto.com. See ya.
Bye.